welcome back to another episode of Y'all Are Crazy. As always, super excited to be with you guys today. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of living a simple life and what we have learned about doing that over the last few years.
Part of our life has been really simple, and there's part of it that's not.
Yeah, for sure. So the reason we thought about doing this episode is because finally we are pouring foundation on our new home next week.
Yeah, it's been several years in the making.
When we sold our big house in Arcadia, we bought land out here. We thought we were going to start building right away, and it has not worked out that way. It has been a journey, and we'll be sharing more stories with you guys about our home building journey and things along the way. But you know, for us, the way we thought things would go is not the way things went. And it's like that a lot of times in life, right?
It happens a lot. But to be fair, we've had a lot happen since we've moved out here. We've bought a lot more pieces of land than we initially bought.
Truth.
You know, just a lot of things have changed.
That's right. We've pieced a lot of land together that we didn't think we were going to get, which is such a blessing. And we're on our third set of house plans. We have changed our mind a few times. You know, so we came from about 4,800 square foot house. When we sold that house, we moved into a 2,300 square foot ranch style 70s home. We've talked about that a little bit before. It basically hadn't been lived in a while, and we flipped it. But when we moved into it, it was in January. So it had no heat. We were sleeping on air mattresses on the floor. We had a flood one night. This house hadn't been lived in a long time. So you discover things in a house that hadn't been lived in a while. So the crazy thing is, the funny part is we went from a super nice house to being just kind of reality check, put back into an old home that we were like, okay, this is going to be a different lifestyle.
Yeah, but it's good. So today's episode talking about living simply, and you'll see a lot of sacrifices that was made in order to achieve what we wanted to achieve. And I think living simply has taught us a lot of good lessons. You know, we didn't know that house didn't have heat. I think the heater actually worked, and so we thought it'd be fine. But then the air ducts were filled full of dirt, and sand was blowing out of them and not much air. And so, needless to say, we had no heat in January. So that was a lot of fun.
That was. I remember sleeping on the air mattresses because we were waiting for I don't know why we didn't have our bed set up. I think we were waiting for our new mattress to arrive because we ordered a new mattress. And so it was like 3 weeks shipping or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we were like, well, we'll just sleep on this air mattress until it comes in. Well, it took like 3 weeks to come in. So we had a 3-month-old at the time. Branch was 3 months old. So he was sleeping with us at the time. Because he was nursing, and so it was like, oh, he'll just sleep by me. Well, he slept with us on the air mattress, and then you got the sand blowing up, and it's freezing. So we have space heaters in each and every room. And yeah, just what a time that was when you think back on it. But gosh, God has shown us so much over these last 3 years. And by the time we actually move into our new house, it'll be 4 years. So from the little house we lived in, we actually have turned that into an Airbnb, the 70s ranch style home. And so that's now one of our Airbnbs, and it's actually super cute now. It gets a lot of bookings and it gets great reviews.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a really good little house. This was the house that I talked him into coming to Chandler to look at houses when we'd never been in Chandler before, didn't even know where it was. God led us out here. And that's the house I was like, babe, we need to buy this because I think our family's going to live in this house someday.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
You must be crazy.
What? You've told me that more than once is the funny part.
But we did. We lived in it. So
we lived there for about a year and a half. And then, we've never shared this story on the podcast. You were going on a business trip of some kind. And I called you and I was like, hey, babe, there's this cabin on the market and it's out by the ranch. I think I want to go look at it. It's on 10 acres. It's a cute cabin. It would get us out of town. And I think it'd be really good for us. But you were out of town.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is we've seen this cabin a little bit before, and I text the listing agent because I know him, and I was like, hey, if this ever comes back on the market, call me. And he's like, Ashley, it's not going to go back on the market. Like, it's a solid deal. It's not going to bust. I'm like, if it does, call me. Yeah. Well, while you were going out of town, he calls me. He's like, hey, that cabin went back on the market. And I'm like, I'm coming to see it today. Well, he is out of town. So I call you and I'm like, I'm going to look at that cabin. Well, I go look in the cabin and I'm like, I love it. Now, granted, this cabin's 1,800 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bath.
Yeah.
Smaller than the ranch style home we're in. But it gets us 10 acres of land that's connected to our ranch, and it gets us out of town.
Yeah, and it allows us to kind of live on the ranch while we're working on getting the house going.
Yeah, something funny to kind of steer off of that for a minute is our kids had only really remembered living in the country. They when our two firstborns were little, we lived in town in a neighborhood, but then like they just didn't really remember that. The first house they really remember was like probably our Rockwell house on 10 acres, I would say. And so when we moved back into town, I remember the kids got out of the car and they looked around and they said, why are these houses all around us?
Yeah.
Why can you see all these roofs? Like what? And we're like, they're neighbors. They didn't know what a neighbor was. They'd never remembered having a neighbor.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That was cute.
And they had to watch for cars in the street and stuff like that. And they weren't used to that.
They peed outside whenever they wanted to. And it was like, you can't pee in the front yard when you live in a neighborhood.
Yeah, they did it anyway. So
yeah,
it was always kind of funny.
It's all a learning experience.
Yeah.
So anyway, when he was out of town, we looked at the cabin. I called him. I'm like, babe, I love it. Like, I think we need to go ahead and jump on this. And thankfully, you trust me. You trust my discretion.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, if you think that's good for us, let's do it.
Yep.
So made an offer, got it under contract. And then when you got back in town, I was like, hey, you want to go see the house we just bought?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, might as well. I guess I'm going to be living in it. So let's go check it out.
And so the cabin that we currently live in, like I said, just such a godsend for us. Like we can ride our Ranger directly from our cabin to our land. Just a godsend, just amazing. It also has some nice outbuildings and things where you can do manly stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a perfect place. But it is a tiny house for 9 people.
It is. And
so it's only 3 bedrooms.
It's 3 bedrooms. So we're going to get into that. What has living simply the last 3 years taught us? First thing, you don't need as much space as you think you do.
You really don't. You know, you hear stories of people in the early 1900s or whatever, maybe even the mid 1900s, and they had, my grandma raised, 7 kids in an 800 square foot house or whatever. And it's like, I mean, you could totally do it. Being in an 1,800 square foot house, I was telling somebody a couple of days ago that we have 5 boys in 1 bedroom.
We do. So we have 2 bunk beds and then a toddler bed.
Yes.
And this room's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big room.
But 5 sleep in there. Totally
5
comfortable.
sleep in there.
Not a big deal. People are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you have 5 kids. And it's like in 1 bedroom. And I'm like, you don't have to have a bedroom for each human.
Right.
You just don't.
Our daughter currently shares the room with the baby, which he just has a crib in there.
Yeah. And our kids, we'll talk about it later, but they are outside all the time or playing a sport or something. They're not in their bedrooms very much.
And we don't really want them to be. That's kind of our goal, is we want our kids to be with us. We want them to be out of their rooms. We want them to be outside playing, ideally. And we like them to be together. So that is our setup currently. 5 boys in 1 room and then 2 in 1 room. And, I think for us, like, we think kids sharing a room is a blessing. Or even thinking through our next house, and we're like, okay, who's going to be in what room? And, at this point, we were going to put 2 and 2 and 2, and then our daughter and her own. And now we're like, should we just go ahead and put more in 1 room? And we're leaning toward that because we think that brings them closer together.
It really does. I mean, if you keep them separated and they're like, this is my room and that's my room. And then they fight all the time because this is their room. Don't come into my room. Kids, put signs on their doors like no trespassing. And it's like, yeah, I don't think that's the culture that we want to create with our kids. We want our kids to want to be around each other, enjoy each other, be close. We
Form
want them to
friendships for
grow up and
life.
still be, like to be around each other. And, when they share rooms, that helps that. Now, they still fight a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
times, for sure. But I think they're closer because of it, and it just keeps us as a closer family unit.
Absolutely. So we will recommend it. We think kids sharing rooms is a blessing. We think it makes your family closer. Another thing I have really enjoyed about living simply is less clutter. In a small house, you know where everything is. That's been kind of nice. It's not like, well, it could be here, here, here. It's like, nope, it's probably there's not many places it can be.
Yeah.
It limits the options. So obviously, I'm just going to say we look forward to having our big house, our new house. We look forward to having more space. We look forward to being able to host people, probably more than anything, because we love hosting and we just haven't been able to do that much in our current house because it's small.
That's true. That part has been the downside is, I mean, you can't have people over inside and, not easily.
Yeah.
With a cookout. So, I mean, it's so small. So
we look forward to it, like, very much. But I told him, I said, I'm probably going to miss sometimes our little cabin because it has been sweet. Another thing about it that I've enjoyed is it's easier to keep clean.
true.
I can literally clean and hit every area with the vacuum every day.
Yeah, that's true.
And
For me, it's like we share a little tiny closet in the master, and I mean, I've got one side, and it's forced me to get rid of a lot of clothes, and then you realize you don't need that many clothes, I mean, if you've got a big old closet, you're going to fill it up. Mm-hmm. Well, and when we get a big closet, I'm sure I will.
Yeah, we're going to have a very big closet in the new
But
house.
it's like you can live a whole lot simpler, and you don't really need a whole lot. And then if you get new clothes, throw the other ones out. You don't need to save them if they're not,
Yeah, some things have been a challenge because, like, I like coffee mugs. Well, we have a very small cupboard for cups and mugs, and so he always is like, okay, if you get a new one, you gotta throw one away, which works a little bit, but I love some of my mugs, so I can't throw them away.
Yeah, but you'll never drink out of 50 different coffee mugs,
But I like to keep about a dozen because it does depend on how I feel that day. Ladies will understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Cups matter.
Tons of them. But in the small house, it literally forces you to not clutter.
It does, which probably allows you to save money too, because you don't buy as much because you don't have room for it.
Yeah. You talked about getting a Sam's Club membership the other day and buying some stuff in bulk. And you're like, well, we can't buy too much in bulk because we got nowhere to really put it.
Yeah.
And so you just have to be strategic. But
yeah, absolutely. And I think that I'm excited to use it, but once again, like, don't have a lot of storage for it, so we kind of have to buy as we go.
Yeah.
So. But there's good things about that. And there's good things about being able to, like, clean your house easily. So if you have a small space, like, hey, don't feel bad about it. Think about the positives that go along with it. Another thing that we love is just having more family time together. When you're in a small house, you kind of know where everybody is all the time.
That's
and
true.
So you can see each other, you can talk, and it forces you to just be together. I think something that we have always done is we've never had TVs in our rooms or our kids' room, like any of the rooms.
Right.
So that has forced no one to stay in their room.
Yeah.
Everybody comes to the family room to hang out because there's nothing really keeping you in your room. For the kids, like, sometimes they'll lay and read their books in the room, or obviously if they need to change clothes, but most of the time they are not in their rooms. Even our daughter, she's almost 13, and sometimes she will go shut her door and read a book, or she's like, I'm going to just go take a little nap after school. But even her, like, most of the time she's out there with us.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it goes into like it's more purpose driven intentionality of how we want it to be, and we don't want kids just in their rooms with the door shut playing video games or whatever.
It's kind of funny because we literally have one TV, and our kids range from 1 to 13 almost. And it's like they have to agree on one show when they watch one.
Which is tough a lot of times.
You got a 1-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
But what it forces to happen is they have to learn to agree on a show. And it's normally a show that probably our 11 and 13-year-old would rather not watch because it's maybe a little more babyish, whatever. But it kind of forces them to do that, which I actually love. Like they watch a lot of Veggie Tales and stuff like that because the little kids like it. The big kids can still like it. They just have to have it on and they get sucked into that. And it teaches them good lessons.
Yeah, it does.
So something else that I think having a small space living simply does is it forces kids to play outside.
Which is greatly needed in today's society.
We love our kids playing outside. We love to be outside.
Yes.
And when you don't have a lot to do inside, it forces you to go outside.
Yes. And in today's world of screens, phones, iPads, video games, computers, I mean, there's going to be plenty of time for that. I mean, in their school, they have to be on a computer a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So in my job, I got to be on a computer a lot all day. I've got, 4 computer monitors on my desk at the office. And so the more time that we can spend outside, not looking at screens, having kids play in the dirt, climbing trees.
Yeah.
Remember the other day you said that Barlow that was in a tree that was like, he was like way up there?
Oh, yeah, they all do.
Yeah.
And I had to set
But
a
he was
limit.
like abnormally high up there that day.
Oh, yeah. They're like, hi, Mom. And they're like 25 feet in the air. And I'm like, okay. So now we have a limit on you can only go 10 feet in a tree.
Yeah.
Think about how tall a basketball goal is. That is your max.
5 years old and climbed 20 feet high in the tree. And, part of me is like, scared what if he falls? And the other part of me is like, kids used to do that all the time, and they learn and they, it's like, that's okay. You look at playgrounds like back in the 50s and 60s.
Those are some of my favorite pictures.
And it's like those kids were on big old monkey bars, like high in the air, doing dangerous stuff. But it's like now you just want to protect them, put them in a bubble, give them a screen. And it's like, man, that's just not good for them all the time.
Yeah. Some of our favorite things that our kids do is they build forts together in the woods. So, and it's pretty amazing to see the creativity kids have when you just give them freedom and basically like nothing.
Right. And they build something out of nothing.
They will come show us. They're like, Mom and Dad, come look at our fort. And we go out there. They've got rope swings. They've made little shelters for each of them.
Yeah.
They find stuff in the woods.
Yeah, like, where did you get that?
Where did you
They're
even
like,
find
it was
this?
just over there in the woods. And it's like, man.
My mom and dad think it's so funny because they get, for Christmas, I think last year, they got them like these big blue tarps and ropes. What'd they get those boys? What are those things called? Tool belts.
Tool belts.
With like hammers and nails. And so the kids just think it's so fun. And then you look in our yard when you drive by in the trees and it's just like tarps and ropes. And it's just like,
looks like a homeless camp out there.
But they're having fun. So I try to
blast.
and when I go out there, sometimes it's hard for me because it's like, what a wreck. It's just so messy, but they're having fun. I try to just be like, let it go. This is their space. Just let it go. But they have fun out there and they all play together, which I love. When they get in the zone, they can spend hours out there.
Right. But that's a good, simple life. There's, they get to be outside together, build things together, talk. Mm-hmm. A lot of kids don't talk to each other very much. You look
out there sometimes and they're carrying like logs.
Yeah.
Who knows what. And they're just like figuring it out together.
It's great.
It's so great. We also have a trampoline. I think kids love a trampoline and it burns energy and it's fun. They can do it together. We sometimes will do a kickball game or they'll play football, play catch together, things like that. I do a walk outside every day. So when the kids are with me, there's usually somebody walking with me and I'm usually pushing 2, maybe 3 in a stroller.
Yeah.
But we walk up and down our driveway a lot.
Yeah. So the simpleness of, these last 4 years, I think has been really good for us. It's helped us to grow closer as a family and kind of give a different perspective on, I don't know, new shiny things and stuff isn't a priority in life necessarily. Like you can have it or not, and once you've had it and then you don't again, and you're like, hey man, it's fine. Like,
yeah, something you and I talked about the other day is like, oh, we're so excited to get our house built, and like, trust us, we are excited. But we've also learned over these last 3 years, we're content.
yeah,
We can have it or we can not have it, but it doesn't change like who we are, what we love. God's just shown us like you can do a lot with a little.
that's kind of the power of like having peace and comfort and stuff like that in who you are and your family and what you're building, and not
keeping up with the Joneses.
yeah, and not worried about what other people think. And there's a lot of power in that, because in today's world, everybody's stressed to the max on antidepressants, on different things.
Not everybody.
A lot. A lot
are.
And I think being in a spot where you are at peace with where you're at in life, now you're still having goals and stuff like that too, but you're just not wrapped up in the material items of life that is easy to get wrapped up in.
Well, as we know, like the only true peace and joy is through Jesus.
That's it. That's the only way.
And if you don't have him in your heart and in your life, there's a void. Because
Right.
all humans have a void, and they say we have a God-shaped hole. And if you don't fill that void with Jesus, you're always going to be searching for, what do I fill it with? Is it stuff? Is it drugs? Is it this? Is it that? What can the world offer that can fill this hole? And nothing can.
No.
That's nothing can fill it. And so once you discover that you fill that with the one who created you, then you have true peace, true joy, and you learn that does not come from stuff.
No, that's a very good feeling to have when you know, like, you have true peace through Christ. And it is, if you have nice things in life because you've earned it and you've worked hard, that's great. If you go through seasons where you don't, but you're still happy and have peace, like that's the goal.
That's the goal. And I think another big thing for us is like what God gives us, we want to use to glorify him. So when we get our nice house built, we want to use it to host people, bring people together, have our kids' teams over, pour into them, just use what God gave us to grow the kingdom.
Right.
That's the goal. And I think that when you use what God gave you to glorify him, you live for him, you tithe, like you follow his commands, he's going to continue to bless you.
Amen to that.
So if you're in a simple life right now, and maybe you're loving it, good for you. If you are wanting to build a house or buy a bigger house down the road, that's okay too. No shame in that. We're really excited for ours. But basically, like I teach our kids, wherever you are, be there and be happy. Don't always be like, well, I'll be happy when this happens. I'll be happy when that happens. One of our kids, our daughter came home from school a while ago, and she was like, oh, school, so the school this, it's not fun. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing. You have to be in school. Where would you be if you weren't in school? I don't know, just home, and I might be bored, and I might be this. I'm like, you have to be at school, so you might as well be happy when you're there. If you have to be somewhere, be happy to be there. Here's your two choices. You're happy or you're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well be happy. So wherever you are, like, let God teach you the lessons, learn what he's trying to teach you, and just be present and be happy to be there.
Yeah. And I think if your life is chaotic, and which ours certainly is a lot of times, looking for ways to simplify your life can be a very good thing to do.
Yeah.
So maybe it's simplifying your evenings or simplifying your mornings, stuff like that. Getting rid of some TVs, putting some books in the hands of your kids, kicking them outside, going for walks as a family.
Outside a lot.
Stuff like that, to put some simplicity in your life and no technology or, that kind of stuff. It could be very good for you.
Yeah. So live the simple life as much as you can. Enjoy life. Be happy. and fill that void inside of you with the only one who can bring you peace and joy, and that is the Lord.
It's good.
That's today's message. We'll see you guys next time.